Hello everyone, I'm the EFC and this is Blue Lions TV, and today I'm bringing you guys the match review of our 2-1 win over Crystal Palace. And apologies for why this is coming out so late. Obviously I got back home very late and at the same time I've been very busy today, so I've only had time now to make the match review. But anyway, you guys, getting straight into the match review, and obviously I think the first discussion point was the lineup. Now of course Giroud started in this game, and I think a lot of us felt that Conte was going to rotate the team a bit more. Emerson didn't play at all in this game, and it might be a bit cynical to think this, but you know, people have every right to think like this. What was the point of signing Emerson? Now you guys already know my perspective. I've already said numerous times and times again that Emerson's a signing for next season. I wasn't expecting him to play much, but I'm thinking, well, we're playing Barcelona. Really is our biggest test this season. Surely maybe you could rest Alonso in this game. Not that he was awful in the game yesterday, but the fact that you could rest him, maybe play Emerson, obviously keep that competition up. Again, it's not a criticism on Conte. I mean, nothing major. I'm just thinking that ideally it would have been nice to see Emerson and maybe resting a few of the other guys as well. But yeah, Giroud started up front, and I'm going to be releasing another video actually later today. 5 talking points from the game yesterday. I think there's a few interesting talking points worth discussing, but anyway, getting straight into the game, and really the game was just basically going how I expected it to. Crystal Palace did start with a 4-4-2. I knew that Zaha was going to be coming off from the bench, and they had the same shape and lineup as the game against Manchester United. And with us, of course, with how we were playing, I knew that we were going to get a lot of joy down the flanks, and you know, our wing-backs were able to get forward as much as they wanted to in this game. Now, with Crystal Palace obviously using 2 number 9s up front, in terms of their imagination, in terms of trying to create attacks, it was basically just pumping balls down to their front 2, and they were really struggling to build anything, particularly in the first half. I felt that any time any of those strikers did get on the ball, there was no support options around them, and we were able to quickly outman them, dispossess them, and continue attack. I did say that I knew that Conte was going to use Cahill in this game because, again, Crystal Palace were only focusing on long direct balls to their front 2, and Cahill justified his place in the team because that's part and parcel of his game. That's what he's best at doing. And you know, with Benteke's awful form and obviously sort of an experience, I felt that Cahill was getting a lot of joy when it came to those aerial battles, so he definitely helped. Of course, there's some arguments in terms of his ball distribution, but I just think that's not worth talking about. I just think when it came to the aerial balls, Cahill was that man today. During that first half in particular, we were creating a lot of opportunities and chances, especially in that first, 20 minutes. There's literally a shot every 3 minutes. I mean, it was a bombardment, but it was a very good first half performance. One of the better first half performances for a while. You know, Zappacosta was having a lot of joy down that, you know, down the right hand side, and it was quite funny. I felt with Crystal Palace, obviously their tactics, their system, what they wanted to do was defend deep, defend in the middle. They didn't want to budge. They wanted us to have the ball out wide, so we'd be forced to put crosses in because they knew that they'd be able to deal with us when it came to anything aerial, because other than Giroud, we really don't have anyone that's an aerial threat in this team. And at times it was working, but what really didn't help Crystal Palace was the fact that they just couldn't defend the wide areas effectively enough. Our passing was pretty quick, and I think this is what you get when Fabregas plays. And this is a very underrated aspect, but the speed at which you manipulate the ball and use it, you know, that can be the difference. I mean, think about it like this. You know, let's say you can run 100 meters between, I don't know, 11 to, actually no, from like 10 to 15 seconds. You know, that's like the range. So, you know, to cover that many meters is really not that much within a second. So when you're very slow on the ball and you don't have anyone that manipulates it very quickly, that gives time for the opposition to regroup in their positions, and obviously it makes it easier. And with Fabregas in the team, because a lot of his passes are first time, because he knows what he's going to do with the ball already, because he helps find the wing backs quicker, this is something we were really able to get at Crystal Palace. And it was quite funny because we were really, you know, destroying them a lot down their left hand side, which is obviously our right hand side. And it was so funny because they had Van Aanholt and Jeffrey Schlupp, 2 guys that play left back, so you think that they'd be more solid down that side compared to the right hand side. But a lot of times I don't think what was helping was the fact that Schlupp wasn't coming back to do his job well enough. And of course Van Aanholt, he had to be tight with this back 4, and then when there was a threat out wide, he had to push forward. because Strip wasn't really there to help him, he was getting outmanned 2v1 all the time by Willian and Zappacosta. And you know, with Willian, his performance in this game today, you know, I'm going to be talking about him later on in the 5 points video I'm releasing later tonight. But I mean, honestly, you guys, I think he's been our best player in 2018. And you know, like I was said on Twitter, that's the only thing I can really, you know, Conte definitely needs to get credit for how he's used Willian this season, especially second half, because, you know, we're seeing what Willian can really do. And I'm starting to think this is it's becoming one of his best individual seasons for us, if you guys get what I'm trying to say. But yeah, we were constantly able to get our wing backs in very advantageous positions up front in the forward areas. And this is how we were able to stretch Crystal Palace time and time again, because, you know, let's say, for example, Van Aanholt's running out wide to the right hand side to help close down, and that's freeing up space for Willian to collect the ball in the half space and then able to switch it. And it was no surprise that we obviously got the first goal. And what do I keep telling you guys all the time? Willian playing in the middle and playing on the left hand side is an infinitely better player compared to the guy that plays on the right hand side. Why? Because he gets to play to his strengths, which is cutting inside, first time shots. He's a very good shooter of the ball as well. Plus with his shimmy, honestly, I might sound a bit crazy, but you know, in terms of his you know, his fake you know, body feints, it's kind of up there with Robin in terms of you just can't really defend against it and you can't stop it. Now, numerous Chelsea players have always come out to praise that. In particular, Lampard, obviously always praising Willian on that skill. Hazard as well, because he can't defend against it. And this is, you know, in tandem with his accurate shooting, you get an effective play. I mean, I felt that, let's say Willian could have been playing in his natural position all these years, I honestly feel that this guy would be getting regularly 15 goals a season. And it's not as crazy when you guys think about it, because this guy is normally getting at least 10 goals a season in all competitions. So I think his goal output and his influence would be even better. But obviously we get the first goal like that, and then again it's just continuing the pace throughout that first half. And you can sense the second goal was coming. Crystal Palace weren't having any counter-attacking threat, not really testing us whatsoever. And then the second goal comes later on. And of course, it was a nice play again. And what do I mean? Down that left-hand side where Palace were constantly struggling, because we were able to switch the ball pretty quickly. That situation, sometimes you think, oh, Hazard, my guy, be a bit more selfish, bro. Come on, like, take it for yourself. Just take that risk. It doesn't always got to be super accurate, but we know that Hazard's a purist and he's always going to do the purist thing. Of course, Zappacosta lucky with the deflection going in. But again, this will be an argument where people are going to be talking about Zappa. You know what? I'm not even going to talk about that now. I'm going to save that for later tonight. But anyway, moving on to the second half, we're 2-0 up. Of course, there were opportunities for Giroud to have made it 3-0 before the second half started. I'm going to get to him now. But again, we started the game and already Crystal Palace have an opportunity. And again, Christensen makes another individual mistake. I'm going to be speaking about him later on in that video tonight. But his reaction maybe wasn't the most mature reaction that you expect from Christensen. Of course, after that, he was visibly angry. Of course, he swung his arms in frustration. But then right when sort of hits the bottom part of the post, that's when he springs back to life. But the problem was that Christensen was still far out. He didn't run back into position at all. I mean, Azpilicueta was the guy that was running back, and he was there in case anything happened. And I kind of felt that maybe, of course, Christensen's only 21 years old. It's going to take time and experience, but I kind of feel that maybe that's an area where, you know, if you make a mistake, it's okay. You know what I mean? Just continue your game and just keep your mentality correct. But even then, there's a few talking points in the second half. I think the first point is Palace's only threat was coming from set pieces, and to me it was no surprise that you know, they were testing us in particular from that. Of course, all of the goal was disallowed for it being a foul. Kind of harsh maybe, but then you could see that they would have got something from that. But even then, with this game today, of course, we only managed to get the 2 goals. Really, it should have been way more than that, and it just came down to poor finishing. And Giroud is a funny player. Now, I don't know, sometimes I feel that the fan base, not just with Chelsea, but in football in general, is too reactionary. It's always reacting on negatives very quickly, and you know, there's never any like reflection. And I think with Giroud, I mean, we've seen this guy for how many years? He's made a name for himself, missing amazing opportunities. And in this game today, 2 chances to score. Hazard sits him up perfectly. I don't understand why he's hitting it straight at the goalkeeper. I mean, he didn't even have to his body position was set. That should have been an easy finish. And then again, I thought his right foot was his strongest foot, not even connecting with the ball properly. And it's just, that's the frustration. And how many misses has Giroud missed already since he's played for us? Now, I know a lot of people will talk about, obviously, you know, his hold-up play, la-di-la-di-la, but I'm not even sure it's as effective. And again, it is weird. This is why Giroud is the plan B guy, because he just doesn't move. He doesn't stretch teams. He can't do that. So I think that he'll be useful in certain games, but he's not going to be reliable, let's say, for big time, big time type of games, because I just think his lack of movement and how he's not that amazing too physically. Let's be serious. Now, the weird thing with Giroud is that he's very accurate with his head, but he just doesn't have any leap. You know what I mean? Like his jumping range isn't very high, and this is why I feel that he does miss a lot of headed opportunities at times, because he's not getting underneath the, over the ball enough, in my opinion. But again, he came on, Morata came on, Morata came on after that, obviously subbing off. And honestly, I'm thinking maybe this is a game where Morata should have started, regardless of how Giroud played. I'm just thinking, obviously, he's got a more realistic chance playing against Barcelona on Wednesday, because he's got the pace and the legs and the ability to run in behind. And, Giroud won't play in that game because, again, when we are playing off the ball, he's not going to provide anything on the counter-attack because of that lack of speed. Giroud is someone that you have to play balls to. You can't really play without the ball because he does nothing, and you could easily see him, Titi and PK just eating him up. I just kind of feel that maybe this could have been good for him to obviously get that, confidence up. I think any opportunity he can get his confidence up, we need to let him take that, because it's only going to benefit us more. Morata's more likely to win us games compared to Giroud's, in my opinion. But I mean, obviously Conte did what he did. I'm going to be explaining why I think Conte picked Giroud over Morata later on in my other video. But I mean, yeah, honestly, it's just a game where we just weren't being clinical enough in the final third. Crystal Palace made it 2-1, of course, Van Aanholt, and that continues the record of ex-Chelsea players scoring against us this season. What, Salah, De Bruyne, Lukaku, now Van Aanholt. If you guys know any more players in the comment section below, obviously say what other players have scored against us that used to play for Chelsea. But yeah, you guys, in the end, there's another argument as well. Is it really worth taking off Hazard? Yes, saving him for Barca, but I kind of feel with certain players like that, you constantly have to leave them on, because when they go off, you've got to realise teams focus their entire system and tactics on nullifying Eden Hazard. So the minute this guy goes off, he's a breather for the opposition. I kind of feel that less than 2-1, it's a risk. Hazard's more likely to help us get the third goal than Pedro, in my opinion. I don't know, I kind of feel Conte needs to eradicate and stop subbing off Eden Hazard. It just makes no sense for me. But you guys, the performance overall was good. I kind of feel that maybe it won't be remembered as much because we didn't score enough, but really this was a game where it should have been at least 4-1. I mean, the amount of lucky blocks Crystal Palace players were getting, the amount of times we missed easy opportunities as well. We were threatening them constantly, and honestly, I just think it was one of those days where we just weren't clinical enough. But you guys, that's my match review on the Crystal Palace game. In the description below will be my Twitter. Obviously, follow me there, you guys. In the comment section below, let me know what you thought about the game yesterday. I'm the EFC. This is RUTHLESS TV. Signing out.